Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So, I was at this store the other day and I thought it'd be fun to do a little video of it because there was just so much there. We've been there before. They advertise at an exhibition that comes around once a year in Toronto. But yeah, they pretty much advertise them as like a novelty Christmas type of store. So we were there during the Christmas time and so I just kind of whipped out my phone. I thought I would take some video. I was just going through, like, obviously in the back here, there's where the Funkos are. Every retro store now pretty much has these Funko Pops. I don't know if you're into them or not. Some people are kind of mixed feelings on them. I think I have like a small amount of them. I don't really want to go crazy on those guys. They had some great shirts, a lot of great t-shirts that you just don't see everywhere. Obviously a lot of references to like the 80s and 90s, a lot of cult classics. You got the Dude there. There was a Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. And then they had like this little horror section. So they kind of have the store into sections. So this is like this little horror section. They got Jason and The Exorcist and Freddy Krueger. Conjuring and Megan. They had some of the latest stuff, plus some of the really classic, really cool things, really novelty items. Even a ghost-faced Chia Pet, which I thought was kind of weird. Then they had this mute. They had a music, like classic music section. They had these ducks in there. They're kind of weird, dressed up like Freddie Mercury duck and board game stuff. Then I just went over to this section here where they had some like classic video game Hello Kitty things. They had a sports section right beside that. I thought that was an odd placement, sports right beside the Hello Kitty and the video games. But yeah, and of course a ton of mugs. They had a lot of mugs and cups, unique looking mugs like that's from Toy Story, and these big sippy cups that everybody seems to be into now. The Stanley Cup thing knockoffs. And I Love Lucy bag. Here was just kind of like a mishmash of just, just different genres. I was trying to figure out what was going on in this section here. Looks like they had like a lot of cartoons and like TV show probably. I guess this is where it's inspired. SpongeBob. It's all of SpongeBob. Smurfs and Care Bears, of course. They had this, Wednesday / Stranger Things area, which, I guess that they kind of go together. They both Netflix. And of course there's the superhero stuff. There has to be superhero stuff. Lots of that around. I went over to here. I saw a bunch of Star Wars. Again with the Chia Pet. I saw a lot of Chia Pets there. I didn't know that those were still going around, but apparently they are. Again, another one of those ducks. I'm putting this video together on May 4th, so, the Star Wars theme kind of fitting for when I'm doing this, but Harry Potter, if you're into the Harry Potter, they have a small section of Harry Potter stuff, and Beetlejuice. I don't know what the Labyrinth is doing there. I guess this is like another cult movie collection section, I should say. The Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters and Beetlejuice, all kind of in the same section there. And of course, Wizard of Oz, for some reason. And Back to the Future, one of my most favorite movies. And there's a Ghostbuster. It seemed like these random ducks everywhere. E.T. and Jaws. And they had some novelty playing cards. This was like the Disney section. Lilo and Stitch. I saw Lilo and Stitch everywhere because I guess the movie's coming out soon as I'm recording this. The movie will be coming out. I think it's coming out like next month or sometime in the summer. I don't know. Here's the Christmas section. They had a bunch of Christmas stuff. A lot of the Rudolph, Charlie Brown Christmas, A Christmas Story, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You can see there's more Funko Pops. Funko Pops are everywhere. Everything ends up in a Funko at some point. Some of the Grinch stuff. A cool looking Grinch mug there. And there was Lilo and Stitch and E.T. together. I don't know. Thought that was a strange pairing, but I guess I don't know much about Lilo and Stitch myself. I'm sure I'll end up seeing the movie, though. Then we had some more Christmas Vacation stuff. There's the car with the tree on it. There's a leg lamp. I don't know why it's got. Oh, I guess it's bandaged up because it broke in the movie. I don't know. Never had a bandage on it. The shitter's full. Family bingo. Here's some more little novelty leg lamp. I know my daughter got me one of those little leg lamps that you could plug into the wall, kind of like a nightlife, for Christmas last year. So that was kind of fun. This way to the nut house. There's a lot of socks as well. Pretty much anything you could think of is in a sock. So there was like, Barbie and Kiss and Freddie Mercury there. I think that was Cheech and Chong and Princess Bride. Mr. Bean. And then they had this little rock section over here with more socks. There was just like dedicated to like rock. So Ozzy Osbourne and the Rolling Stones, Iron Maiden, Sex Pistols, a couple of albums. That I thought was neat. Seeing albums like vinyl come back was really strange for me. And then Kiss shirts, you can find those everywhere. I thought this was cool though, the Twisted Sister shirt. And Motley Crue, I almost bought that one. Then we're looking at the, they had the world's smallest toys section. I'm fascinated by these things. I always like these little tiny things. I don't want to start buying them though, but a few of them I'm really fascinated by. The world's smallest Monopoly, and there's Stretch Armstrong. There's a Pictionary, Operation, Candyland. This one I thought was funniest is the little mousetrap. I don't know how that would work, but I can imagine trying to put a little mousetrap together. Over here, what really brought me back some memories was those, scratch and sniff stickers. Those were everywhere in the 80s. I remember having like books of them. Then they had just an 80s, 90s section here with radios and tapes and Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man. An 80s board game, 90s board game. So this was like a kind of like a decade section. A lot of magnets. Pretty much everything in magnet as well. So it was really cool. That's the Back to the Future one. I got that one on my fridge right now. The Garfield and Star Trek. Some more hockey. I don't know. I think those were hockey playing cards. Then there's Corpse Bride, SpongeBob. Lots of SpongeBob everywhere. Daredevil, Star Wars again. And then some of the TV shows, The Office and Friends. Schitt's Creek, Seinfeld, Jaws again, Big Lebowski, Beetlejuice. Pretty much everything, if you want a deck of cards. Even some naughty pinups. Some Jack Daniels. I thought that was weird, Jack Daniels. Of course they have a stuffy section. Every store like this has to have a stuffy section. There's Wednesday, there's more Lilo and Stitch stuff. Some Halloween. The Ren and Stimpy, I thought that was kind of funny. He's got like a booger coming out of his nose. There's some more Mr. Potato Heads. I feel like almost everybody in their childhood had a potato head. These things were kind of like those, I remember when those went crazy in the 90s. Everybody had those digital pets. And a Speak and Spell, again, that's classic retro toy. Obviously it's a remake of it, but... And some little Smurfs. I remember the Smurf figurines when I was a kid as well. And My Little Pony, of course. This is in the good look. All the little girl toys. I remember these, the Rainbow Bright. My friend had them. My friend next door, she had the Rainbow Brights and the My Little Ponies. Big Bang Theory. I guess that's late 90s, was it? Early 2000s, mid 2000s. When did that show come out? I think it was mid 2000s. Justice League, those little bendy toys, and the Batmobile, the classic Batmobile from the Adam West Batman, and some more board games. I think these cards, you can find them almost in any store now. Some of these were more common board games, but they had Rock'em Sock'em. I thought that was cool, Rock'em Sock'em robots. And they had just like, there's like a puzzle there with all different nostalgic things in there and some Lego. They had a small Lego section if you're into the Legos. Again, more Lilo and Stitch stuff. Retro camera, which I thought was neat. I've seen these in other stores as well, these Lego sets. And a ton of Monopoly themed, Lilo and Stitch Monopoly, Scooby-Doo, Ted Lasso. I mean, there's some odd ones in there. I think Christmas Vacation Monopoly. Then over here, this is where they had their little action figure wall. I thought was kind of neat. Some Sesame Street stuff, Rocky and It. There's like some Sex Pistols toys. I don't know where those came from. And Twisted Sister. And Princess Bride, I should say. A lot of Princess Bride stuff as well. Thought this was cool. Back to the Future. Kind of like these deluxe figures. You could change the heads and stuff. They had like Marty McFly, and they had a bunch of them there. I was kind of going through them. More Clark Griswold. Run DMC wearing Christmas hats. Some Mr. Bean stuff. Felix, Betty Boop, Looney Tunes, and Batman. They had a wide variety of different figures. Even Jesus. And Shrek. This was like kind of the candy section. I thought this was neat too, seeing some of these old classic candy. Some of the new stuff was mixed in there, but there was some old classic stuff, like these garbage pail things. I remember getting those when I was a kid. I think they probably still sell them in stores today all over the place, but there's some ice dips. I've never seen those before. I remember, the other dips, but this was weird, kind of like a slush. I don't know what it was. It's probably like a sucker or something like that. The fun dips. Little Halloween or Easter section, I should say. More lunch boxes. All kinds of candy. All tasty candy. Pop Rocks. I remember these things too. The little bags of gold nuggets in there. It's just gum. There's the Big Chew. Used to buy those as well. Go to the corner store and pick those up. Big Chew. Pretend you're chewing tobacco is essentially what it is. It's Tootsie Pops. And I have some Tootsie Pops. And there's a little section with little novelty toys with candy in there. Like Kool-Aid and... yeah, so this was my experience at the RetroFest store. And we'll end off with Kool-Aid Man. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. We'll talk to you later. Look inside there. I don't know what he was doing with this. It was just cool.